Hi everyone, welcome to today's session. So thank you all so much for tuning in. Today's webinar is going to be all about building a simple website for your business. I'm Neve and I'm going to be delivering today's training. It's going to approximately take about 45 to 50 minutes. So we're hoping that we'll wrap up before 12, everyone get their lunch. And I hope that you're all settled in, maybe grab a cup of tea, have your water beside you. We're going to be taking breaks throughout today's session as well. I'd like to introduce you to our moderator today. She is Emma, and you may have seen her in the chat already. We are in excellent hands with Emma. She is an expert in all things PPC, digital and website related. So it's great to have her on board today, and you'll see her in the chat on the right hand side with a little spanner beside her name. We also have Kim in the chat too, and Kim is amazing. She's part of our digital garage team and she'll also be helping out in the chat today. Just a few housekeeping bits before we actually launch into today's session. If you are having trouble seeing the screen or seeing this presentation, if you just refresh your page, sometimes that can help. As well, if you would like to join in our instant chat today, you are going to need to set up a YouTube account. So you can do that by clicking on the box in the top right hand corner, and then you can take part in the chat. I think that's what I love about these sessions. Like, let's make this really interactive. Please keep putting your comments in the chat, and it makes it much more enjoyable for me and for everyone else. We're going to be pausing throughout today's session as well for questions. So if there is questions throughout, Emma will be answering them in the chat. And there's going to be 3 pauses today. So if there's more complex questions, I'm going to be taking them. Emma's going to feed them to me for our breaks. Just to let you know as well, thank you all for signing up to today's session. If you would like to see what other webinars we're running as part of the Google Digital Garage, you can take a look at the schedule of our upcoming webinars. There's a link just below me there, and you can click on that and then you can see what other webinars are coming up. Also, if you would like to share today's webinar with your friends, with your family, maybe on social media, I would please encourage you to use the hashtag #digitalgarage. So that'd be great. And hope you're all comfortable and we are ready to go. So better introduce myself first. My name is Neve. I work as an account manager in Google. So I delivered these trainings across the country, across Ireland, so in Galway, in Cork, in Dublin, and now we are delivering them over webinars. So it's new for me, it's new for everyone, but I think it's a really exciting way to be able to connect with you guys at home. As I said, I've worked in the Irish market, so I work mainly across retail and with insurance clients, but also in the past with B2B and with lead gen on their digital strategies. While not working, I'm a really big Gaelic football fan, so I play that with our local club Foxrock Camtili. And my newfound talent, I was telling everyone this on our last webinar, is baking. So banana bread, melting moments, Rice Krispie squares, you name it, I'm baking it. So before we actually launch in now to today's content, I think it is really important to acknowledge that for many of us, we're not operating business as usual. And as we're all trying to adapt to COVID-19 across the globe, I think we both understand that today's landscape is creating challenges for you, for your business, and also for your customers. And each of these challenges are unique, and every business is being impacted in some way or another. I know a lot of the businesses that I've worked with have been really heavily impacted, some less so, some more so, but each one is trying to adapt and change. And I think that many people have reached out that this is a really critical time, and this training is coming at a really critical time when you're trying to be relevant, when you're trying to be helpful to your customers. And I think in the current climate that we're in, making sure that you can actually connect to your customers online it's more important than ever. And we're seeing businesses who have been completely offline now coming online for the first time ever, which is great. And whether you are an international player, whether you export around the world, Maybe you are a restaurant, a local restaurant, maybe you're a music teacher, maybe you own a fish shop in Skibbereen. What we all need is some way to connect with our customers now online, and what better way to do that than with a website. So at the end of today's session, all of you there, you're going to leave with the knowledge of how to build a simple website for your business. And listen, if you already have a website, please stay with us, because we're going to be going through how to improve it. And listen, no website is ever 100% done or complete. So I think you can always make improvements and changes to make it even better. So how we're going to go through the content is 3 parts. So our first part is all really about understanding, okay, the online opportunities for businesses. And in this session, I really would encourage you maybe to grab a piece of paper and a pen and a notepad and start jotting down ideas, because you really need to have an idea of what the website is going to look like and what content you're going to have on it, etc. Our second part then is actually creating our website. So today we are going to be using a tool called Google Sites to create our first website. And then the third part, what we're going to be doing is taking all of those ideas that we discussed in the first section and bringing them into actually publishing them on your website. So putting the content up on your website. And then at the end of today's session, maybe you can have www.nevesgaatips.com and everyone in the world can access that, which I think is pretty cool. So I suppose in today's digital world, we do expect to be able to connect with each other instantly. I know on a personal level, me myself, like I expect to be able to connect with my loved ones, my friends, now more than ever, within seconds. So whether that's on a phone, whether it's on an app, whether it's on social media, we kind of take that instant connection now for granted. But we also expect the same interaction, same instant connection with the businesses that we interact with. And I know a lot of us have seen in the last few weeks that online shopping, for example, has absolutely accelerated. Some retailers that I'm working with have seen sales that are similar to Black Friday online, because unfortunately they can't open up their physical stores. And we're also seeing businesses really become kind of unique and pivot. So for example, restaurants who are now offering takeaway. And maybe all of you at home, maybe think of a business that you've interacted with lately. Maybe you bought a home and garden product. Maybe you unfortunately had to cancel a trip or a holiday. Or maybe you looked up a recipe for banana bread, for example. You all probably did that online and with a website. So before we get started into kind of, okay, let's build our website, we need to think of, why do you actually want to be online? So in order to do that, we kind of need to think of what are our business goals. So if you have that pen and paper there, start writing down. And I know it sounds really simple, but it's really important. What's your goal? But what's your business goals? And every business owner should consider this to be able to kind of use your site to achieve those goals. So if you think of, okay, what do you want the customer to do, or your client, or just the user to do when they come to your website? And then also put your customer hat on and think, okay, what's that person coming to my website for? Matching those two together, that's the recipe for success. And any business or company that I would start to work with, the first thing I would do is usually visit their website first. And I ask them, okay, I'm on your website, I'm the user, what do you want me to do? What's the focus? And make sure that is front and center, that you need to focus on what's important. And so just to kind of give you guys some ideas, so some people might come online to build your brand. Maybe you want to win more customers online. Maybe you're trying to sell something. Maybe then you just want to help your customers find you or give them information. And I think by keeping those goals in mind, hopefully some of you have written them down. It'd be great if you're brave enough to put them in the chat and kind of put in the chat, what is your business goal, or why is it that you actually want to build a website? Then when we're talking about websites, it's important to know there's 2 kind of main ways that you can build a website. So you can start from scratch and build your own one, or you can use a web platform. So starting from scratch, building your own website, some advantages to this would be that you have full control over your brand. We also have the opportunity for more maybe advanced options. But then I suppose the caveat to that could be that it is a little bit more complex to actually create. Then on the other hand, we have web platforms. So for example, today we are going to use the web platform Google Sites. And advantages of this would be that web platforms are usually quite quick to set up a website. They're usually free or quite low cost. And I suppose the disadvantage then to them would be that they are generally kind of harder to personalize for your business. So there's no right or wrong answer. It's really up to you as to what way you want to go, and what your preference is when building your website. So then it's important as well to know, and for all of us to understand, actually how do websites work? How do websites work? So how they work is we have a web server. So this is where your website will be live or hosted. So the purpose of the web server is to store, to process, and then deliver your web pages to clients. So for example, Apache web server is one example of many different web servers. Then we have our domain name. So the domain name is the web address that people will type in to find you. So how do they actually reach you online? So for example, www.nevesgattips.com, that's how people are going to reach my website. Then we have website builders, and these are companies that offer ready-made website templates that you can use. So as I said, today we're using Google Sites. There's also Wix, WordPress is one as well. So again, many different options that you can go with. And so sticking with the baking theme, there's a few key ingredients to your website. So the first is choosing your web address. So that's going to be your domain. So maybe that's going to be your business name. Maybe you want to call it something else. Maybe start writing down what you would like that to be. Then you pick a layout and design. So that kind of suits your brand or suits the style of whatever business you're in. Then we add text, we add photos, and we can also add extra features like forms. Maybe people want to buy something on your website, or videos, for example. And we're going to go through in the second and third sections how we actually put them on a website. Cool, so once you've decided, okay, I know what my web address is going to be, and for a domain or web address, I would kind of give the tip to keep them short, keep them simple, keep them easy to remember, so that people don't have to type in a really, really long web address when trying to find you online. So you need to then check, okay, is my web address available? So there's a few different companies that we can go with to see, is this web address available? So GoDaddy.com, 123reg, Google Domains is another one. So you have to go on and see, okay, is that web address available? So for example, I had checked, this was 2 weeks ago now, so I hope it's still available, nevesbananabread.com. And I could have bought that for $12 for the year. So once you decide what you like, then go on and check one of the domains, see if it's available, and then you can actually purchase that domain. Perfect. So we've kind of gone through, okay, how do websites actually work? Now it's important to think, okay, is our website mobile ready? So as we conduct more and more business online, it's never been more critical to ensure that we offer a seamless, frictionless digital experience. And if you think of your mobile phones, like I have mine here beside me now, we're on our mobile phones probably more than we even like to admit, and especially in recent weeks, maybe more than ever. And if you think of a product or a service that you bought online recently, so maybe you had to renew insurance, maybe you bought skincare or loungewear, think of how many times did you go maybe to your laptop, then you go back to your phone, then maybe you use a tablet. So we have to make sure that our website is able to serve on each of these different devices. So when I say have a mobile friendly website, I suppose that means that we make sure that it's easy to use. So when you're scrolling through on your phone, that it's actually easy to navigate. Next thing is, does it load quickly? And I cannot stress the importance of this enough. Make sure your site loads quickly. If you already have a site, just please make sure that it's loading, and you're not leaving customers waiting. Like if you had a physical store, You wouldn't leave a big line outside your shop if you were ready to sell your products. So the same has to apply to your website. Next is it easy to complete tasks? So when I'm scrolling through, if I need to fill out a form or if I'm trying to buy something, is it really small? Do I have to zoom in on mobile, or is it actually mobile friendly? And this is an interesting stat. I remember for the first time I was shocked when I saw it, but 53% of users, if a site takes more than 3 seconds to load, they'll be gone. So I'm a user, I click onto a site, I go 1, 2, 3. If it hasn't loaded, 53% of your users will leave. So you're probably thinking, that's very tough. I know I thought that was very tough when I saw that first. So I suppose you might ask the question then, how do I actually improve my mobile speed? So one way is we have a tool, it's called Test My Site. Maybe Emma can put it in the chat. That's a tool that you can come to. You put in your website, and then there's no charge to it as well. It's accessible to anyone. You put in your website and it will give you back ways to improve it, developer tips to improve the speed, which is pretty cool. Perfect. So then we come into, okay, how does the website look and feel? So what we have for any website is a header, so that's what comes up top. Then we have the navigation in the middle, and at the bottom we have a footer. So the footer is usually maybe legal, FAQs, contact information, etc. And the navigation is where the main kind of body of text will be. So when we're talking about a website then, it's really important to make it easy to use. And what do I mean by that? I mean, use content that's actually relevant to your customers. So it goes back to whatever you wrote down as your business goal. Like, let's say you're Sam's Skibbereen Fish Shop. There's no point in you writing a full essay on the history of salmon. The customer wants to come on to know that your products are fresh, that you're delivering right now, and that how you are going to deliver is you contact a phone number. And that's what they need to know. That's useful and that's relevant information. Also give clear directions or instructions on how to actually buy or learn more. Maybe your website is just an information page. How do they learn more? Maybe you are going to give them directions that you are doing takeaways now. How do they get the takeaway? Maybe they're actually going to buy something. Make sure it's easy for them to actually navigate and be able to buy on the site. And then thirdly, again, to re-emphasize, really important to make sure that it looks good on mobile. I will give a reminder now, we are about kind of a few slides away from our first break. So if there is any questions, you can put them in the chat. So then what makes good content? So first of all, persuasive messages. So are you accredited by anyone? Has your business won any awards? How long have you been operating for? Those are all really great things to put on your site, as it makes people trust the business more. Also, content that people love to share is really important. So if you have a Facebook page, you can put that on your website. Maybe you are offering something free. Maybe you are kind of emphasizing or selling something that's now a new social norm. Like maybe you have organic materials that people love these days. Make sure that's on the site as well. And then the third important thing, and this is really important, is make sure that it's search engine friendly. So that it's suitable for SEO. And I'm not going to go into that too much today, but there's loads and loads of resources online to find out how to make your site more SEO friendly. Perfect. So before we come into our first break, I wanted to I know I mentioned two tools, I mentioned the Test My Site tool in that section there. So how do we measure speed? We can use a tool called Test My Site. And that, again, no charge. You can come on, put in your business's site. Also another tool, and this is for retailers, so it's specifically for retailers. It's called Grow My Store. So if you're a retailer, you don't have to have made your site on Google Sites, just any website that you have. You can come in, put in your website, and we will give you a full detailed report on how good your customer experience is and how you might like to improve that. I think those are two really great tools to bookmark and just to come back and continuously test how fast it is the site. So I'm going to pause for questions now. So I'm just going to check with Emma if there's any questions. Perfect. So the first question is from Catherine. So Catherine, thank you very much for your question. So it's, how can you make a site load with speed? Yeah, so again, I think I kind of answered it there, but there's different developer tools, like maybe an image is the reason that your site is being too slow to load, or it could be a big video in your header that's making it slow. There's different aspects of the site that could be slowing it down. The best thing to do is, if you have a site, Catherine, go on to that Test My Site and just have a look as to, first of all, what your loading time is. And again, I know I said 3 seconds, that's what we're aiming for, but if it's 6 seconds, 7 seconds, don't fret, don't worry, we'll just try to make it better. And there's developer tips that you can view on that tool as well to help you improve the site speed. And then we have another question from Moria. So thank you, Moria. And this question is it better to embed or link videos? So I hope I have that question right. Is it better to embed or link videos? So we will be going through how to actually, there's two options. You can embed a video and that will just be on your site, or you can have a button that might link them to a YouTube channel, for example. It's really up to you, Moria. If you want them maybe to stay on the website, maybe just have the video on the website. But we're going to go through how you would both embed or link a video in, maybe from your Google Drive. We'll be going through that in the second section. But again, I think it's really important to know, because I think videos can make a website really interactive and a bit more unique as well. I'll just check with Emma. I think that's all for the moment. And I think we're going to launch into the next section. So the next section is all about actually, using our Google Sites. If this is the first time viewing this How to Build a Simple Website webinar, please, I think it's better to stay with me. I'm going to go through the slides on how we're actually building a website. It's just easier, and then you can go off and build your website after. If this is your second time joining this webinar, you can actually just open up a new tab with Google Sites and you can just listen to me and work through as you go. So as I said, Google Sites isn't the only website builder, but that's what we are going to be using today. So first of all, what we do is we go to sites.google.com/new, or you can just type in Google Sites to your search bar, whichever one is easier. Then what we do is you'll see a sign in. So you can either sign in with your personal email address or with your business one if you're going to use it for business purposes. And don't worry if you don't have a Google sign in or you don't have a Google email account, you can just create an account underneath that box there. Now, when you then sign in, you will either see two options. You'll see on the right, and that's what the new Google Sites looks like. Or on the left, you'll see this screen, and you just have to make sure that you go to the bottom, and I've highlighted there in red, and just click New Google Sites. So there was a classic Google Sites. Now we're using the new Google Sites. It's just updated, and there's just better features in it, so it's easier to use. Perfect. So I want to go through, first of all, the features of Google Sites. So the third section will be actually putting stuff on our website. I think it's important to know kind of what the different tools are in Google Sites itself. So you might see first you enter in your site name. So that might be Neves GAA Tips. That's my site name. Then you'll see at the top different functionalities. So the first one is that we can undo or redo changes, which I think is great. If you don't really like something and you want to go back, you can just undo. Then really, really important, we can see a preview of what our site is actually going to look like to the general public before we actually publish. So this option will allow us to see what it looks like on a desktop, what it looks like on a mobile phone, what it looks like on a tablet, which is a really cool feature. Let's say in the business, you're not the only one that is going to be building this site. Maybe someone else is going to help you as well, or someone else that works for you, or a friend. You can add other users to the site, so it's not just yourself that can edit it, and you do that with the plus button there, the plus icon. And then at the end, when we're happy with our site, when we think, okay, I'm ready to go, I'm ready for anyone in the world to access my website, we click publish. So that's when you're finally ready. Then you'll see some tools on the right hand side. So the first tab is insert. So this is what we can use to insert text, to insert images, maybe, and I know Moria was asking about how to embed a video. We can embed with a URL, that's one option with the yellow embed URL, or you can upload a file, maybe a sheet, photos from your Google Drive. Underneath that then we have our layouts. So you can decide kind of what layouts look well for you. You might want to have a play around as to what theme actually looks good. The next tab then is pages. So every website usually has more than just one page. So what we can do is we can have our home page, then you might want to add in contact us, about us, maybe a page on the different services that you offer. Maybe if you're a takeaway restaurant, you want to add in a menu. So those are the different pages that you can, that's where you add different pages essentially. And then the third section, then the third tab is themes. So that's where you'll pick the color, the style, the look, the feel of the website. Perfect. So I think I already went through this, but just at the top, that's where you'll actually name your business. And remember we talked about there's a header and then there's a navigation and then a footer. So that grey area where it says your page title, that's our header. So that's where you can put in maybe your business name and an image, etc. So if you're trying to put an image there, what you can do is in the header, you will click on it there, the kind of away from the text. And you can either add in an image maybe that you have on your laptop or your computer already. Maybe if you don't have an image, you want to go for one of the ones that kind of come up there already. If you want to search the web or search Google Images, you also have that option as well. So kind of make sure that you do add an image, though it does kind of add to the style, to the feel of the website. You can also add in GIFs there or cinemagraphs if you want to go a little bit fancier. Next then is the logo. So I would always think of the website as another store. So maybe if you were always an offline player or an offline business, your website is now your new store. So it has to have that same brand feel that a store would have. And I would really encourage people to give your website as much attention as you would to a physical store or shop or office that you have. So one really good way to kind of show off our brand is to add your logo in. So you can then click on settings, or you can click on the left hand side of the header, and you can add in a logo. So this logo is something maybe that you have on your laptop already, or if you don't have a logo, don't worry too much about it, but it is a really nice thing to add in if you have one. You also have the option to add in what's called a fave icon. So what that is if you're watching this in YouTube right now, you might see in the tabs at the top, there's a little red box with a white arrow play button in the middle. That's the fave icon. So for example, if you open up Wikipedia, their fave icon is a little W. So if you want to add one of them as well, so that people, when they're looking at different tabs, they can see, oh, there's Neve's GA tips. I know it because it has a little GA ball. I might add that as my fave icon, for example. Perfect. So then we go through the color and the style of your website. So you can decide kind of what color theme suits you, maybe a different style you want to go with, a different type of writing, for example. And I would really encourage you to kind of play around with this and see what looks nice and see what works for you. So that section was all about, the kind of the functionalities of the tool. So I'm going to pause again here for questions, because the next section is going to actually be putting the content up on our website. So I'm going to pause for questions again. So please do keep them coming. So now's a good time to pause. Perfect. So the first question is from Anisha. So Thanks very much, Anisha, for your question. Great to see the interaction. So, will a mobile-friendly website impact its performance on laptop or desktop? So yeah, it is a good question. So let's say with Google Sites, for example, Anisha, what you can see is you can see what it looks like on desktop, see what it looks like on mobile, see what it looks like on tablet, and each of them will kind of look a little bit differently. A mobile friendly website won't impact the performance on laptop or desktop, but it is also important. Maybe you want to have a specific landing page just for mobile if you want them to fill out a form, for example. But I wouldn't worry too much about it. It's not going to massively impact the performance. I would just make sure that the faster the page can load and the easier it is for people to navigate, that's what I would aim towards, and that's what I would prioritize, because that's important whether you're on a desktop or whether you're on a mobile. The next question is from, sorry if I pronounce these names wrong, from Foderica95. So this is how to make sure that the images that we add are not violating copyright. So yeah, that is actually a really good question. So I would encourage, where you can, to use your own images of maybe maybe you have images from on your desktop, maybe you have them from the shop. If you don't have an image, don't worry too much. I will have to maybe get Kim to double check this, but as far as I'm aware, any of the images that are pre-populated in Google Sites, they're okay to use. So you're fine in that regard. The next one is from Catherine again. So thank you, Catherine. It's, should you land on a selling page and have the home page down the line? Okay, so the question is, should you have, when people land in your website, should that be the selling page, or should you have the home page first? So again, that's really up to you, Catherine. And what I'd say is that if you, it's really up to your own preference. What I'd say is, when people land on your page, maybe have your header, maybe have your business name, and then underneath have an option that says like, we sell these products, and have the products just underneath in the navigation. Then that would be a good way to do it. I know recently I've been working with a startup. They sell food packages, and their homepage was just their brand name and then a few images below. And the first thing I asked them was, well, like, what's the purpose of the website? Like, what are you trying to get people to do? And she said, oh, well, we want people to buy our products. We want to sell our products online, and we're delivering. So I said, okay, but that needs to go just underneath the header. We are delivering nationwide, products, delivery in 48 hours. And then you have buy meal A, buy meal B, buy meal C. So if you did want, though, Catherine, to just let them land straight away and that's your kind of selling site, that's fine. It's really up to you and kind of what way you want to position the products on the site. The next then is question from Moria again. So it's, how much content could you put on a free site? So I suppose hopefully I get the right meaning here. Hopefully you mean how much content can you put on maybe a Google Sites, because this is of no cost. So as much content as you want. It can be limitless. You can have loads of pages. You can have as much content as you would like. I would say, though, if you are looking to actually sell products online, and maybe this goes back to Catherine, your question as well, Google Sites isn't really built for e-commerce or to sell products. So if you are looking to sell, actually, if that's the primary purpose of your website, to sell products, there is other web providers. I know Shopify is one, there's Wix, there's Weebly, and they have e-commerce built into them, or you can have a widget for e-commerce enablement. So I would just have a think, if you are looking to primarily sell online, Google Sites is really great to get your website first up and running. And it's great for many businesses, but maybe if you want to sell online, there's loads of other providers that might be a little bit better for that. We have another question then, on this is the last one then before we move on to the next section. So it's from Ben. So Ben, thank you very much for your question. This is it possible to use Google Sites to build a website if the hosting is to be with a third party not connected to Google? So I'm not really sure if I am reading that question right, Ben, but I know we talked about you need a web server, you need a domain, and then you need, you can use a website builder. I know that's one of the things we went through in our first section. So with Google Sites, you don't need to worry about the web server. It will already be hosted for you. So that's all sorted, that's all dealt with for you. So I hope that answers your question there. And yeah, most of the kind of different web builders that you go with, that will be built in. They usually have a web server as part of the package. Perfect. Great. Okay, so we'll move on to our next sections. This is all about adding the content onto the website. Let's make sure I get my slides up and running. Okay, perfect. So as I said, the first thing to do is the header. So this is where you might put in your business name, have a short description about the business. What is it that you actually do? If you have a tagline and you want to add that in, please do. So for example, if I have Neve's GA tips, I might put in learn new skills, new drills, and excel in your matches, for example. That might be my description or my tagline. So that's really important to put in, and you can take it different colors and put a different image in there, etc. Now, let's say we're going to go with testimonials on our website, which is always really good. So let's say, I know in our previous example, we had Paul's Plumbing. So let's say Paul's Plumbing wants to put in different testimonials from people who have used his service. So what he might do is add different images in, and you can do this with the layouts on the right hand side. Then he'll put in the text underneath of, let's say he does residential, underneath that maybe he wants to highlight the different services that he provides. So let's say he has residential, he does commercial plumbing. He wants to add in a little description, an image, and that's how you do that there. You just add with the plus button, and you can upload an image from your own files, use a Google image, you can add a YouTube video, or a calendar, for example. There's loads of different features that you can add in. As well, what's really important is, let's say he has his different services, he has his residential and his commercial plumbing, and he creates a separate page. He can just add in, with that URL or embed, you can add in the link then to go to the next page. So really simple, really easy. This is just the main navigation where we'll add in our text and our images and videos if you'd like. So I know I mentioned videos there. So let's say he wants to add in a video of plumbing from YouTube. It doesn't have to be his video. He can click on his website. He can go to YouTube. If you do upload with YouTube, type in the video that he wants, and then it's up on his website for everyone to see. If you have a video that isn't on YouTube, but you do want to have it on your website, you can also upload it from your Google Drive. I would make sure that once you do upload the video, that you do go back, once you preview or once you publish your site, just view it from an incognito tab or from someone else's laptop to make sure that everyone can actually see that video. So that's the main kind of body, what you would add in. Then I know I mentioned before, and I think we had a question from VCAS about this as well, was can we add multiple pages to our website? So the answer is yes. So Paul has done his main homepage. He said what services he provides. He has his testimonials. Now he wants to add an About Us page to let people know a bit more about the business. So what he'll do is he'll go over to the right hand side and go to pages, and then you can add in a new page. So you click on the plus icon, and then you can name the page. So this page might be called About Us. Now it's a brand new page. He can start to create a new header. He can put new text in. He might put in kind of how long they've been in business. All those things that we discussed in section 1 about what your business is offering. You can put that in maybe the About Us page. As well, it is really important to know that, let's say you've made an About Us page or some kind of new header, and you think, I want to save a bit of time and I just want to copy that header over to a new page. What you can do is just highlight that header, then click on the plus button, and you'll name that page, and the header will copy over to a brand new page. So it just saves a bit of time. It's just a little trick that I've learned that kind of speeds things up when you're building your website. Okay, so, oh, sorry, I'm moving my mic around. So now he is creating his contact us page. So it is really important to let people know how to contact you. So if you, I'd actually nearly say this can nearly be on the homepage now. If you're offering a service that is now online that was always offline, really important to know how people can contact you or how they can actually do business with you. So what you can do is you can create a new header or just copy over that header like I just showed you there. And maybe you want to put in a map of your business, of where you are. Maybe you want to put in your business address or a form. So you can put all of these in, again, in the navigation section. So you can change the headers, as I said, you can make simographics or GIFs and make them look a bit funner or nicer, but really it's up to you and how simple or advanced you want to go. Perfect. Then, as I said, let's say we want to see what our site actually looks like on a different device. We can go back up to our preview button that I showed you guys at the start. So we can see what it looks like on desktop/laptop. We can see what it looks like on tablet, and we can also see what it looks like on a mobile. So I think this is pretty cool. Like, let's say Paul's looking here, he might think, actually, do you know what? Maybe Paul's Plumbing, maybe that text in grey doesn't really stand out enough. Okay, I'm going to go back and then redo that, make it look bigger, bolder. So that's a really good feature, really cool to use to be able to actually see what your website looks like before it actually goes live. Perfect. So listen, I wouldn't be like, if you are just starting off and you're building a website, it doesn't take too long to build it. Like if you were to build a simple 3-page website, if you sat down for the day, you could have it done in 3 to 4 hours, and then your website's up and everyone can access you online. So once you've done and you said, okay, I think I'm happy with my website, you click on publish on the top of the page. So once you click on publish, what you'll see is the name of your website. So with Google Sites, we will give you a domain name initially. And this is just the start of it will say gsites.google.com / and then you'll put in your name. So Paul's Plumbing. Then you make sure that you tick allow my site to appear in search results, because that's really important to allow people to find us online. And then the last step is we click publish. So let's say Paul has published his site, he can access it by sharing people that web address, that gsites.google.com / Paul's Plumbing. But now he thinks, I actually want to go and buy a domain name of www.paulsplumbing.com because that's a bit nicer and it's a bit easier for people to find me. He can buy that domain name, then he can come back to Google Sites and put that domain name instead of gsites.google.com, and then people can access him with www.paulsplumbing.com. So if you have gone off and got a domain name, great, you can just edit and put it into your Google Sites. Okay, I know that was kind of just a quick, simple overview of how the tool works, how you can work through it. It's really easy to use and really kind of user friendly. So I would encourage you to go on, take a look, see what is working for you and just play around with it. So I think now is a good time before our last few slides to go on to a few questions, because I know there's probably questions happening in the chat. So I'm going to go just look at the questions now. Okay, so a really good question again from Frederica95. So this question is, should you eventually move into developing your own website rather than using a website building platform? So, and then the second question is, does using, for example, Google Sites affect how people judge your website? So I'll answer the first question first. So there's so many websites that use web builders like Shopify, like Wix.com, like Google Sites, and they have been using them for ages, for years, and they don't ever feel the need to change to developing their own website. And they're perfectly happy, it works really well from them. And so the answer is, if let's say you really wanted to go a bit more advanced, a bit more personalized to your business, then you might make the decision, actually I want to kind of have a bit more control and set up my own website. So again, Frederica, it really depends on what your business model is, what you're trying to achieve with your website. If by all means you want to go a bit deeper and a bit more advanced, you can build your own website. But listen, the web builders that are out there are so advanced now that really a lot of websites will operate on them across the web without ever feeling the need, let's say, to change to their own website. Another question then is, does, for example, Google Sites affect how people judge your site? Honestly, I think no. I think the Google Sites looks really well, it looks slick, they look really kind of professional. It's really great to kind of set up easily, and there's loads of features that you can use. I kind of went through the simple features today. There is more videos that you can find on YouTube for maybe more advanced options, so it won't affect how people judge your site. If the information is there, if it's useful, if it's relevant, that's what's the most important. If I'm a user and I need to go on to ring up a travel company to travel my booking, all I care about is that the website works, that I know how to contact them, that I can find their details online, and that they have the information maybe about their cancellation policies. And that, as a user, that's what's important to me. So I just focus on the functionality and what the messaging is on your website as a priority. I think that would be my answer to that question. Perfect. The next question is from Christopher. So thank you, Christopher. Will you go up in Google rankings if you use Google Sites rather than another provider? So it's a really good question, Christopher, and I know the last time we had this question as well, and the answer is no. Just because you use Google Sites to build your website won't affect how Google ranks your website in the search results. Whatever, let's say I type in a keyword, whatever website is the most relevant to me, whether it was built on Wix, whether it was built on Google Sites, whether it was built on Weebly, whether it was built from scratch, it doesn't really matter what way it was built. It's just whatever information on that is most relevant to me and most relevant to the keyword that I've searched, that's the website that will show up for me. So for the rankings, it's more about the content on your website rather than, okay, what builder that you use to actually make the website. So no, to answer the question, no, it's not going to affect how Google ranks your website. What I would say is that mobile friendly pages do affect the SEO rankings. So it's really great that Google Sites does have that built in. So that's one kind of plus, but overall it's not going to affect the results. Perfect. The next one is Ruth, and it's, which ranks businesses higher in search? Simple website generated from Google My Business account or published Google site? So Ruth, this is a really good question. I know last Wednesday, Katrina did a session on Google My Business. So with Google My Business, the website or the site that you get with that, it's more about your business information. And that's what that site is. Whereas it's not really, I wouldn't say a website, like there's not loads of different pages on it, for example. Whereas with Google Sites, it's a full website. And it's kind of like you can put that on your business cards, you can put that on your social media, link people back to the website. Google My Business, really, really great for letting people find you online. Usually those results will come up on the right hand side of your screen. They'll come up on the right hand side of your screen when you're searching or in Google Maps, whereas the website will usually come up in the search results in the middle. But I think it's always great to have both. I would really recommend to have both. I suppose the difference is Google My Business is more telling people about how to find your business, what you do, whereas Google websites or any website is, okay, how are you going to connect with your customers? It's like a business in itself. It's like its own physical store. Perfect. And then we have a really great question for Gillian. That is, so can I build a site for free and use my domain name but have it hosted for free? So the answer to that is, so you can use Google Sites, there's no cost. Come on, build your site, Gillian, you're happy out, you have it done. Now you have a domain name, maybe it's www.gilliansclothes.com. You want to use, because you've already bought that domain name and now you want to put it onto your Google Sites. Take that, you can put it onto your Google Sites, and that's of no charge, and it's going to work. That's how people can access you. So I hope that answers your question there. I know we had another question from Gillian then. It's how secure are Google websites? So that is another really good question, and it's a really good highlight of the Google Sites tool. Google Sites automatically will ensure that your site has the HTTPS secure on it. So they're automatically secure. We have the SSO certification. I know some other websites builder, you may have to pay for that. It's already built into the Google Sites. So again, that is also a really great point, Julian, because no matter how great the content is in your website, if I come to a business and they're asking me to put my information into a form or to buy something, and I see that not secure symbol, it can be really off-putting, and you don't really know if your data is going to be safe. So a really great thing about Google Sites is that we do have the HTTPS built in. So you'll have that symbol with your website, which is great. Perfect. Hopefully that answers all the questions there. So I know I'm just conscious we need to finish up on time. Sorry, I'm going a little bit over, but we will be done before 12. So what are the next steps? Okay, so first of all, you can log back into sites.com. Maybe you've just started your website, but you're not finished it. That's okay. You can just keep editing until you're comfortable to publish. You can complete your pages. And then it's really, really valuable to know the information about who is visiting your website, where are they coming from, how long they're spending. That information is invaluable. Imagine if I could tell you that every day, if you had a physical bakery, every day I can tell you exactly how many people came in, exactly what age they are, in and around what age they are, how long they spent in the store, maybe why, what was the reason maybe that they left. We can find all that information with Google Analytics. So again, no cost to Google Analytics. You can just set up an account and make sure then you have that on your Google Sites. So then when I set up nevesgatips.com, I can see, oh, actually people left my page when they were looking at my solo techniques. Or maybe my kicking skills, people really like that. They seem to spend a lot of time on that page, so I'm going to do more of that content. Oh, I can actually see a lot of people were coming from South America. Pretty interesting that they're interested in Gaelic football. So you can see loads of different analytics and data that then you can turn into insights with Google Analytics. So I hopefully Kim or Emma can put the link to that in the chat as well. Now I have a few different things that are really important in terms of updating your website or creating a website. So when you're updating, there is information about how to actually put Google Analytics to your website. If you've signed up for this webinar, you will get an email after with the information on that. You can also, as I said, I know there's a few questions. I think it was Catherine, correct me if I'm wrong, they wanted to know how could you actually point your domain or your new domain to your website. There's information about that online. Hopefully the girls will link that into the chat as well. Then again, as I said throughout this webinar, that it's not just Google Sites. You can use WordPress. That's a little bit more kind of control. You can use Squarespace. There's another tool called Wix. So plenty of tools out there. They're all great. So it's just whatever one really suits you best. And that's the one that you'll go for. And I think we have nearly come to the end. What I would say is there is a feedback link. Guys, I would really, really appreciate if people would give the feedback. We're trying to run these webinars to bring you the most valuable information. So if you really liked this webinar, please let us know. If there's something, actually I didn't really like that section, please let us know. If there's something you'd like us to improve or do better, or something that we did really, really well, please continue to give us the feedback, because that's how we can actually improve and do better. And we're all just trying to learn here how the best way to run these webinars. So we are running more in different topics. So if you would like to see the other ones, you can register in the link below me there. If you would like to share your experience again on social media, maybe on LinkedIn, maybe with your friends, you can use the hashtag digital garage. So that'd be great if you use that. And plus, if you would like to carry out your learning online in your own time, you can check out the Google Digital Garage website. There's plenty of online training courses that are available 24/7, which is great. I know this video is going to be up for the next 24 hours, so you'll be able to watch. Maybe you want to give feedback again, so you can just rewatch that. It will be online for the next 24 hours. Again, I would like to say just thank you so much for joining in. Thank you so much for engaging in the chat. Thank you for your questions. really hope everyone, no matter where you are in the world, I know we had people joining from all over, so that was great. And enjoy the sunshine. I know I'm in Dublin, sun is shining here, so enjoy your lunch, enjoy the rest of your day. And again, thank you so much, and we look forward to welcoming you to another Google Digital Garage training session soon. So thanks again.